Okay. First of all, I'd like to give all due respect to the Supreme Intelligence of the universe. Thanking him for our lives. Thanking him for allowing us to make it through another week and see another Shabbat day. You may be seated. I'd like to give due respect to my Abba, Chief Elquanah ben Yehudah, as well as the leader of D.C.B, Nasiel ben Yissaskar, as well as Rosh Kohat ben Lewi. I bid you all in the tongue of ancient forefathers, Shabbat Shalom Lakim. All right. So the portion we're getting into today, as you know already, is Chayei. For many of us, this may be the 1,000th time we heard this. For some of us, this may be the first time that you heard it. But no matter how many times you've heard this portion or how many times you read this portion, there's always something to gain from it. One of the things that always stick with me as I get older and older and go through these portions again and again is what, bless his memory, Chief Naphtali said, is Torah teaches Torah. And the more you go through this, the more you learn. And even reading it this time around, reading it throughout the week, reading it last night, reading this morning, there's always something else to gather from it. I even had to tell myself, you know what, Elquanah, don't make too many notes. Because I know me. I overthink a lot. I'll sit down and I'll take 1,000,001 notes, get up here, can't even read them. Why? Because the heart beating. I'm sitting there thinking of new points while we're going through it, and then things I want to say get lost, and then I'm trying to read the notes. Nah. So this time I will just be going through this, and I'm praying that the Most High be with me in my words. Any mistake that I make is my own, and I pray that you all get something from what I said. A couple of things that I did like that was said this morning from the young man Mika was about emotions and sometimes losing control of our emotions, maybe not making the best decisions. And then what Maury Arania was just talking about as far as having skills, practice, certain things like that. And as we go through the portion, I'll touch on that a little more because it kind of came to me as it was being said, which is why it's good to listen when people speak because you never know where a certain level of inspiration may come from. But in this portion, we're going to see the end, even though it's called Chayei Sarah, which is the life of Sarah, our first matriarch. This is the end of her life, and we're going to see how things transpire after this.
We're in the book of Genesis, chapter 23, starting from verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And the life of Sarah was 107 and 20 years. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kiryat Arba, the same as Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. And Abraham rose up before his bed and spoke unto the children of Chet, saying, I am a stranger and a sojourner with you. Give me a possession of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. And the children of Chet answered Abraham, saying unto him, Hear us, my Lord, thou art a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our sepulchres bury thy dead. None of us shall withhold from thee this sepulchre, but that thou mayest bury thy dead.
So basically they're telling him, we're going to have a handshake deal. Tosif?
And Abraham rose up and bowed down to the people of the land, even to the children of Chet. And he spoke with them, saying, If it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me and entreat for me to Ephron the son of Zohar, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he hath, which is in the end of his field, for the full price. Let him give it to me in the midst of you for a possession of a burying place. Now Ephron was sitting in the midst of the children of Chet. And Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the hearing of the children of Chet, even of all that went in at the gate of his city, saying, Nay, my Lord, hear me. The field give I thee, and the cave that is therein I give it thee. In the presence of the sons of my people give I it thee, bury thy dead.
So again, back to what I was saying about that handshake deal that they're trying to do with Abraham at this moment. Instead of giving him what he asked, a price for this land so that he may buy it, this is nothing to give to you. So one of the things that we can learn from this part right here is that even if someone wants to give you something, you may not have as much to give back, but still give something, right? So we can learn from this right here to not always receive and accept handouts, because right now they on good terms. There's no problems between them or anything. So it's just like, oh, nay, my Lord. No, for you, it's nothing. For you, my friend, nothing. You get the full discount. You get the family discount, 100% off. But knowing and understanding how things change, people change, times change, sometimes you got to go ahead and say, no, how much is it? So we're going to see as we go down, Abraham persists and gets the price, but let that also be a lesson for us, because that whole feeling right there at the moment of, no, this is nothing for me. Come on, you can have this. Give it 2-3 weeks later. Now we at odds. Give me my land back. And now they digging Sarah up. Now this not your land no more. I don't know what you're talking about. We didn't have no deal. Tosif.
And Abraham bowed down before the people of the land, and he spoke unto Ephron in the hearing of the people of the land, saying, But if thou wilt, I pray thee, hear me, I will give thee the price of the field, take it of me, and I will bury my dead there. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying unto him, My Lord, hearken unto me. A piece of land worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that betwixt me and thee?
Now we
bury
get to the
therefore
price.
thy dead.
So now we get to the price. So there is a price for the land.
Right.
It's 400 shekels of silver. But again, he's in front of his people. He want to look good. It's like you out of the club. Like, man, don't worry about it. I said the bottles is on me.
Right.
You trying to look good in front of the girls. You trying to look good in front of... I said, put your wallet away. You here with me. Come on. Now you're embarrassing me in front of everybody. Don't do that. Don't do that. But, I mean, if you're going to chip in for a bottle, it's 400. If you want to, you ain't got to, but if you want to chip in, it's 400 for one of the bottles. But... Again, even looking at this, another thing to learn too is what? There's a bunch of witnesses around while this whole conversation is taking place. So even if he kind of want to go back on his word, got all these people witnessing this transaction, right? So now he finally tells Abraham, okay, it's 400 shekels. Tosif?
And Abraham hearkened unto Ephron, and Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver, which he had named in the hearing of the children of Het, 400 shekels of silver, current money with the merchant. Okay,
so one of the things I did want to touch on too was back up in verse 12, where it said, and Abraham bowed down before the people of the land, and showing a certain level of humility, right? Because we know that Abraham is seen as a mighty prince. This man is a warrior. Our forefather is a warrior. He's held to that esteem. That didn't take away from the fact that he's showing respect to the people that own this land. And one thing that we should all take from that, because I'm pretty sure we all see it in our places of work. Maybe it's not us, but we see it, and it's still something that we could learn from it just to keep ourselves in check. Again, about that, emotional thing that was spoken about earlier. Sometimes we see it where someone gets into a certain position and they don't know how to act anymore, right? They get promoted, they get held to a certain esteem, even if they have the accolades to kind of feel good about themselves, which you should feel good about your accomplishments. But there's still supposed to be a certain level of humility held. So even here with this, Abraham is doing what? Bowing down to them. Proverbs 24:21 tells us what? To respect Yehudah and the king. Or fear Yehudah and the king. So this don't mean that just because you Israel or you may have a certain title or level that you could feel as if there are certain people you don't have to show respect to because I'm so-and-so. I'm this and this. Whether that's in Israel or even outside in the real world, I would hope that none of us are conducting ourselves that way, because one of the best ways we can bring people to the Most High is by an example, right? We could do all the teaching, we could do all the preaching, we could sit there and open the book and show them X, Y, and Z. If we're walking in a way in which they don't find pleasing, why would they want to cleave unto this? Right? If they see us being nasty to people, they always talking book, but I don't like the way they treat so-and-so. Or he think he better than everybody, or she thinks she better than everybody. Right? So again, Torah teaches Torah, and let Torah teach us. Right? So Abraham, a man that the Most High calls his love. Not just my friend, but my love. Learn from this. I mean, Isaiah tells us to be like Abraham and Sarah. Be like that. Verse 17, right?
Verse 17. So the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field, that were in all the border that were round about, were made sure unto Abraham for a possession in the presence of the children of Het, before all that went in at the gate of his city. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah, before Mamre, the same as Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And the field and the cave that is therein were made sure unto Abraham for possession of a burying place by the children of Het.
So now, just to change the mood of this all at the moment, Abraham is not just losing a wife; he's losing his best friend, right? So now he's burying her, so that he's buried her now that she's out of his sight. And one thing we learn right away from Genesis says that it's not good that man dwell alone. So he didn't just lose a wife. He didn't lose the mother of his son, Isaac. He lost his best friend, his ace boon coon. Everything he went through, she was right there with him. Now, they lived, they had a lot more time together than people do in these days and times. But imagine that's how much more stronger their bond was. Because they've known each other. Well, he's known her whole life, basically, because the age difference. But nonetheless, they've spent their entire lives together. So he didn't just lose her, he lost a piece of him in this process. And even in all of this, he's still holding on. He's handling his business. He's doing what he has to do. He's keeping himself in check, because a lot of times when we face these losses, when we face these challenges and difficulties, we have a little bit of emotional imbalance, right? We start acting a certain way towards people. We carry on a certain way, which is understandable. We good? Oh. Something traumatic just happened. But again, Torah teaches Torah. Abraham is still, being a certain way to people. But I was thinking, too, it's so funny how the book talks about it's not good that man dwell alone. And it's just like, I was thinking, because, the internet has 1,000,001 jokes, and then sometimes I overhear women conversations and stuff. I stay in the man place and stay out of it, of course, but I just be ear hustling once in the blue. And it's funny, I find that women always say how incompetent, in a joking way that a lot of us men are. Like, if you send a man to a store, we can't find nothing. We can't follow simple instructions. You could tell us something's in the cabinet, we'll open it 3 times, not find it. You'll open it and it's right there. Or you could say, okay, I need you to get this. It's in this aisle. Just make a left as soon as you go in the store. It's right there, the green box. And it's like, sweetheart, I'm right here. I'm here. You could be FaceTiming, because that's the technology we have today. And I guess as men, we'll still miss it. But, although that, it's in humor, but from a serious standpoint, that does show how much women do add to our lives. And it seems to be like a very big battle today. It's getting worse and worse of this whole men versus women thing. And that should not have a place in this community, whether I'm talking about the black community or the Israelite community. Let's let them have that battle. All right, we ain't supposed to follow the ways of the nations. Let that be one of the ways that we definitely don't follow, because none of us are here because of one or the other. We're here because of both being together, right? We all exist because a man and a woman came together, and the Most High allowed us to come into fruition. All right, we were created by a man and a woman, not a man or a woman. So all of this divisiveness that seems to be going on in today's time, let that not fall here. Let that not be here. Any congregation, anywhere, and another one of the conversations that I see happening while I'm on this topic is that just because, I'll see where it says that men and women aren't equal, and just because we're not equal doesn't mean you're less than me. Now, what does that mean? Because we want to think that, like, we try to make things too literal, we become too technical, where it's inapplicable. So just because you're not the same as me or you're not equal to me doesn't mean you're less than me. What I bring to the table and what you bring to the table don't have to be the same thing, right? But this does not mean you're less than me or I'm less than you. This whole conversation with these new breed of athletes, and I'm keeping it respectful because we're on YouTube. I don't want us to get demonetized. So you got these new athletes with XY chromosomes that, they wear certain things, and now they right there competing with women. Yeah. And now the same argument that us men been having for years as far as, no, this is not okay. No, this is not okay. But women, a lot of the women out there was very for it and like, oh, no, you should let them be who they are and identify as they want, because that is, a lot of the time, that's the bigger proponents of that community, unfortunately for us, and it'd be a lot of our women too. But now a lot of women are starting to see that you have a lot of XY chromosome female athletes, that there's a vast difference. Now, this is something that has always been known, but it had to be made this transparent for it to come to the point now that women are fighting against it just as much as we were. But take us back 5 or 10 years. We was called all type of names: transphobes, homophobes, this phobe, that phobe. Ain't none of us scared of none of that, but we all these type of phobes. And now it takes for Leah Thomas to beat out a whole swimming team. See, I'm about to say we on YouTube. So Leah Thomas, don't get us in trouble. But Leah Thomas beat all these women, but couldn't beat none of the men, wasn't even in the top whatever. Now, boom, they're showing the difference. So again, this doesn't mean that women are less than men. Maybe the Most High blessed us with more physical strength, but there's a lot of attributes that y'all have that adds to life. They say a man could build a house, but it's a woman that makes it a home, right? So it ain't always about us being able to do the same things. And even like Maria Ronnie was just talking about us being different parts, right? Those of us that's in the cartoons or whatever, you got Voltron. For those that's a little older, y'all know what I'm talking about. Young people might have heard of Power Rangers. I don't know. I don't know what the generation is into. But all those different things with those robots and stuff is about those different parts coming together to make a whole, and that was better than the 5 individual parts. Not that any of them was less than the other, but they all made up a different part. The minute we begin to understand that, and I know and understand the fact that we having all these problems is because they know that. They know that the minute we start working together, that's it. You think about all of the black movements that we had between the 50s, 60s, and 70s, they had to thwart all of our efforts by doing what? Destroying the black family structure. But not just the black family structure in general. They had to destroy all of it. Why? Because a man and a woman that's on the same page and working together is unstoppable. So before I begin to get too far off track and get to, and my brothers and sisters, listen here. Nah, let me get back to the portion, because I end up being here for a while, because it's just like, man, the more I scroll, and it's like this conversation about women, this conversation about men, this conversation about relationships. And it's like that seems to be the main millennial conversation, where a lot of people want a healthy relationship, but ain't too many of them, / us, because I'm a millennial, are healthy. Amen. Amen. They have no foundation. They don't have the Most High in their life. They don't have a foundation as far as a family structure. They don't have no foundation as far as religious structure, spiritual structure. So that allows any and everything to creep in, right? When you have no morals, no foundation, almost anything goes. So let us learn from Abraham and Sarah, right? As we read through these portions, like right now, as we begin to keep going, we're going to get into the life of Isaac. And when we get into the life of Isaac and Rebekah, you're going to see, like, Isaac's life is not spoken about that much, but from the fact that he lived, and, I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but the fact that he lived so long, 185 years, that says a lot to me. Despite him losing his vision or whatever, he lived 185 years, longer than his father, Abraham. Honor thy father and thy mother, that their days may be long upon the land. He outlived both his parents in age. So, yeah, his life may have not been spoken about that much. You can see the type of child that he was, right? So, going back to Isaac, we could see Sarah passing away at 127, meaning Isaac is around 37 years old. So, in those times, I'm gonna sit here and say his 37 was around like a good 20-ish, because if you look at it like that, like in today's time, we're not living as long, so to speak. So his 37 was still very much so a young man. So he's losing his mother as a young man. And as we begin to go through the portion, you'll see what Abraham begins to do next, right? Not only is Abraham losing his wife, but his son is losing his mother. Tosif.
Chapter 24, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And Abraham was old, well stricken in age. And Yehudah had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his servant, the elder of his house, that ruled over all that he had, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh. And I will make thee swear by Yehudah, the God of heaven and the God of the earth, that thou shalt not take a wife for my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell. Now, we may not know the origin of this custom, and for a lot of us in today's time, because we live in such a perverse society, this may seem like a strange thing, but there's nothing strange about this, right? These are the customs of then. There may be a whole bunch of different commentary. You could feel free to look into it and read about it. There's no funny business going on here. He's just making him swear before he do this thing that he's about to ask him to do. Tosif. But thou shalt go unto my country and unto my kindred, and take a wife for my son, even for Isaac. And the servant said unto him, peradventure the woman will not be willing to follow me unto this land. Must I needs bring thy son back unto the land from whence thou camest? And Abraham said unto him, beware that thou bring not my son back thither. All right, verse 4.
it says, "But thou shalt go into my country and to my kindred and take a wife for my son, even for Isaac," for Yitzchak. So I was meditating on this a little bit throughout the week because I know a lot of times, again, so there's a reason why I mentioned all that dating stuff and a lot of the things that I see. And oftentimes, women are told to have certain standards when it comes to choosing a man, but seldom is the conversation had with a lot of men on the standards you should have when it comes to selecting a woman. Now, it does occur, but not to the same extent, right? There's a lot of things that, maybe women have amongst women, mothers have amongst daughters, whatever. And these are all necessary conversations nonetheless. But one thing that's very prevalent that we see in the Tanakh is being selective as a man who you choose to be with, right? Especially as us men, because what we see in the book that happened with our forefathers, this is portions way ahead, so please stay tuned. Just keep watching every week. You'll be there eventually. But when our forefathers dated women that wasn't for the Most High, their hearts turned from the Most High, right? So even Abraham, knowing and understanding how he raised his son, how him and Sarah raised their son, I don't want him dating these women because this may happen to him. His heart may turn away from the Most High, right? We raised him a certain way. And keep in mind, Abraham separated from his family, but he's still sending back to get people from there because he know what's there. He know how they're being raised. He know the type of qualities that they have over there. And a lot of these things, we should all be mindful because, none of us, I hope none of us want to stay alone, but if you want to, that's fine. Whatever's clever, whatever works for you. I'm not trying to shame anybody either other way, but I'm pretty sure most of us would like to live out our days having someone there for comfort, having someone there to be there, with us, right? So in that, especially for those of you that are a lot younger, or even me talking to myself, this goes for men and women. Be careful in the selection process. And we jam ourselves up by falling in like before learning the person. Not falling in love, you falling in like. And in today's time, because everything is so sexualized, a lot of people are falling in lust first and then learn each other after, right? Take the time to learn that person. Matter of fact, take the time to learn yourself. That's what that's where a lot of people mess up when it comes to this whole dating thing. You don't even know you. You ain't sit down and take the time to learn you. You don't know what you like. You don't know what you want. You just know you don't want to be alone. That's good and well. That is absolutely fine. The Most High didn't create us to be alone. So it's good and well that you feel the way you do about wanting somebody. Learn who you are. Learn what you want. Because in that process, you may be able to filter out a lot of things, because that's why there's all this divorce and all these headaches and all these traumatic situationships that people go through with, because you don't know who you are, you don't know what you want, and you got all these different personalities you keep blending with, and you date this person, learn that the hard way, date this person, learn that the hard way. And by the time somebody good might come along, you done been traumatized too much. So that's again, Torah teaches Torah, so let Torah teach us. As selective, and this is what he did too. Even though he's dwelling there in that land, again, he's sending his servant back to go get a wife from over there. Just because you're in New York, this goes to the man or woman, that does not mean your wife or husband is in New York. One of the things my Abba keep telling me is, they need travel. Travel, because you don't know who you might meet. You don't know what's out there. And this is something, to be encouraged amongst everyone. Because there's a lot of funny, weird behavior in New York City. So you may just have to go somewhere else. And this is not talking about going overseas and all of that, because I know there's a whole other conversation about the passport bros. Those of y'all that's of a certain age know what I'm talking about. I'm not getting into that. But what I'm saying is that take the time to learn you, learn people, learn things, and be more selective in your dating process, whatever that may be, so that you don't hurt you don't hurt someone else, and there's less divorces and stuff, and less, baby mama, baby daddy situations. It's a whole other conversation. Where we at, verse 7?
Verse 7. Yehovah, the God of heaven, who took me from my father's house and from the land of my nativity, and who spoke unto me, and who swore unto me, saying, unto thy seed will I give this land. He will send his angel before thee, and thou shalt take a wife for my son from thence. And if the woman be not willing to follow thee, then thou shalt be clear from this my oath. Only thou shalt not bring my son back thither. And the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and swore to him concerning this matter. And the servant took 10 camels of the camels of his master, and departed, having all goodly things of his master in his hand. And he arose and went to Aram Naharaim, unto the city of Nahor. And he made the camels to kneel down without the city by the well of water, at the time of evening, the time that women go out to draw water. And he said, O Yehovah, the God of my master Abraham, send me, I pray thee, good speed this day, and show kindness unto my master Abraham. Behold, I stand by the fountain of water, and the daughters of the men of the city come out to draw water. So let it come to pass, that the damsel to whom I shall say, let down thy pitcher, I pray thee, that I may drink. And she shall say, drink, and I will give thy camels drink also. Let the same be she that thou hast appointed for thy servant, even for Isaac. And thereby shall I know that thou hast shown kindness unto my master.
Okay, Torah. That's actually where I wanted to stop, so that was actually really good timing. Let us learn from this that before we're about to do anything that we're about to do, talk to the Most High.
Hallelujah.
No matter what it is, you about to take a drive, talk to the Most High. Actually, as soon as you open your eyes, think of the Creator. Think of the Creator and think the Creator. Because not everybody gets to wake up in the morning. And not many people get to go to bed at night. So, any and everything that you're about to do, put the Most High first. Before I'm about to go work out, I pray to the Most High. I pray to the Most High throughout the workout because I know how easy it is to get injured. I know how easy it is for things to happen. Whether I'm taking the train, driving, walking, whatever, I got the Most High on my mind. Why? Because anything can happen. Like David asked, I asked that he be my shield and my buckler. Because I ain't going to be able to see everything and I ain't going to be able to perceive everything that's around me. But the Most High can. So whether it be a task at your job or whatever, anything that it is that you're about to do, don't be afraid to go to the Most High about it first. Because society has taught us to be very reactionary. So we'll do the thing first, and if it don't work out, then we go to the Creator. Oh, Most High, please make this turn out this way, or Most High, fix this situation. Go to Him in the first place. Because maybe that wasn't the way you were supposed to go. He knew that, and if you had went, to Him first, might have saved yourself that little headache. So let's not be reactionary in our thought process when it comes to the Creator. Even going back, again, we talking about Isaac about to get a wife. So even in that selection process, go to the Creator. And because God, the Most High, as we know, Yehovah or Yahweh, is so removed from today's society, people remove God in the thought process of selecting a mate. So people don't go, kneel or bow or pray or meditate and say, Most High, show me what's for me. And even sometimes when people are in that process, when they are dating someone and they ask for those signs and they say, Most High, show me if this is or isn't for me, and He shows them that it's not for you. Nah, that's not what I asked for. That's not what it was. He said, Most High, let a stop sign fall as I drive if this is not for me. And it's just, wow, they need to work on that. The city taking all these taxes and they stop signs is falling. Wow, that could have been my car. Just keep going. Ask for sign after sign after sign for certain things. Most High just keep giving them. I know I don't want to get too ahead of this portion, but sometimes the prayer is answered speedily, sometimes not so much. But nonetheless, when He answers, listen, right? I heard, I can't think of who said it, but I be listening to a lot of different motivational speakers, and it says, the more you begin to neglect the voice of God, the quieter it becomes, right? So when we ask the Most High for certain things, and He's given us that answer, and we don't listen when we receive it, you can go ahead and keep asking, but then eventually you're just going to be on your own. Because I see you don't learn, so you're going to have to learn the hard way. I've given you answer after answer after answer. I'm pretty sure a lot of you parents, y'all get it. Y'all know exactly what it's going to be. Okay, I told you stop running. I told you stop doing this. I said stop jumping off the couch or stop jumping off the bed. All right, you don't want to listen? You sit back and you hear that. All right, okay. Because sometimes you just have to let that person experience that, because no matter how much you say, they just not going to hear it. All right, and we've all been there. Anyone that's alive at this moment have been there where we were warned and warned and warned and warned, didn't take heed, and had to learn the hard way. I got quite a few injuries from being hard-headed. I'm 30, and I maybe I'm growing out of it a little bit. I'm growing out of it. But for those of you that are a lot younger, take that as a lesson that, you know what? Maybe your parents aren't antiquated, all right? That means old or ancient, slightly outdated, you know. So they might have a little gray hair. They may not know the slang or all the new TikTok dances, but this don't mean that the information that they have isn't useful for you. Whoa, the young people got it. Yeah. All right, so right now we see where the servant is making a petition before the Creator in verse 15.
And it came to pass before he had done speaking, that behold, Rebekah came out, who was born to Bethuel the son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, with her pitcher upon her shoulder.
So he didn't even finish making his prayer. That's how good the God is that we serve.
And the damsel was very fair to look upon, a virgin. Neither had any man known her. And she went down to the fountain and filled her pitcher and came up. All
right. And the damsel was very fair to look upon. And I noticed that it says that about all our matriarchs, right? Now, maybe it didn't say it about Leah and the two handmaids, but we know with Sarah, she was so fond that in her 70s, Abraham was a little nervous. Mind you, Abraham is a warrior, right? Again, he's known as a mighty prince, but that's how good she looked in her 70s, where he was like, just tell him you my sister for the sake of my life, right? And now we're moving on to Rebekah, and it's talking about she was very fair to look upon. And in a few portions when we get to Raquel, you know, it says she was very fair to look upon and a beautiful form. So they took it an extra notch with her. And that's where we get it from, right? Of all the women in the world and, you know, access to social media and stuff, you ain't got to travel the world to see the world, but there's nothing more beautiful than a black woman. Absolutely. And even like some of these other women that may be certain things, it's just like, yeah, you got that from having that little bit of black DNA in you that made you look more like this, right? So I even began to think, I'm like, the damsel was very fair to look upon. Now I know this may not be in our culture, but you have some cultures where they may tell a woman she has to cover her face. And I'm like, how would they know she was beautiful if her face was covered? Now, this isn't to say you can or can't cover your face, right? What I'm saying is it's not mandatory to be all. You don't have to do the whole wrap-up thing, but when you see them talking about our women and our mothers at that, Sarah, very beautiful. Rebekah, very beautiful. Raquel, and I'm pretty sure Leah was beautiful too. Her eyes just was doing some things that maybe, you know, one was up, one was down, left or right. Nonetheless, pretty sure they both was beautiful women. And it's like, this is where we come from. Now, moving down to where it says, very fair to look upon, a virgin, neither had any man known her, right? And I want to bring it back to today's times where a lot of things are so sexualized. Everything, right? Because that's what sells. And all we all are consumers. So they're just going to keep pushing what sells. But unfortunately, a lot of our children go to these public schools where they're around people who have parents that aren't raising them the way we want to raise our children. So in a small sense, we are slightly setting our children up for failure. In a small sense. This doesn't mean that they're going to do what the other kids are doing, but they're going to be surrounded by kids that are doing this on a regular, and we understand how easy it is to succumb to peer pressure if you're around certain people on a constant basis. You know, that's why it may not be a saying that's utilized that much in these times, but I'm pretty sure our parents and grandparents have heard this before. You show me who your friends are, and I'll show you who you are, right? So if we letting our kids be around these people 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, there may be some certain level of influence, even if not acted out, that's being ingrained upon them. And I'm talking from slight experience as well. Obviously, I went to public school also. Well, not obviously, but, you know, again, you're surrounded by people that talk about this as early as elementary, middle school, high school, and whether they lying or not or exaggerating or not, you have a lot of inappropriate conversations that begin to occur at very young ages, and now there are thoughts that are being put into young minds that young mind is not ready to handle that, right? So, and again, what I'm saying goes for men and women. young men and women especially, there's no shame in being a virgin. There's no shame in waiting. There's absolutely no shame in not doing the things that your friends are doing, because when you graduate elementary, when you graduate middle school, when you graduate high school and college, etc., a lot of these people won't be in your life. So you'll do things, or you'll try to fit in or seem cool, or even make up stories to appease them and like, oh yeah, I'm down, I do what y'all do, yeah, I'm different, or sometimes they know the difference, sometimes they don't. Not getting into that complete conversation, but because like my Abba always say, I know who you are in front of me, but I don't know who you are when you get around the corner. So your child may be your child in the house. They may dress and talk and act a certain way. When they're at school, they cue money, all right? Elquanah. At school, he's cue money. What that? Cue money? I don't know no Elquanah. I don't know who you looking for. But again, so the reason, and I feel like they mentioned the way they mentioned it right here, where it says she's a virgin, neither had any man known her. The world was like Ecclesiastes teach us, there's nothing new under the sun. So there was a lot of funny business going on then too, whereas, even like now, a girl could be a virgin, but have had quite a few partners. I'm leaving it there because we have young ears as well. So, even our people at home, I know your children may be sitting down and watching it with you also. But these are conversations to be had with them as well, where it's just like, yeah, don't be doing this either. Right? Don't be doing that either, because with these phones that they have, you're giving them access to a lot of information. You're giving them access to a lot, right? And if not mitigated, it could take their mind far away. Even while we're here, sometimes our youth may get a little bored. Why? Because they know there's a whole world out there. That phone gives them access to a whole entire different world, and then we expect him to be able to be fixated on these portions and these teachings when it's like, And us as adults, we're addicted to our phones too. You might go to check the time, open up your Facebook or Instagram, scroll for 10 minutes, put your phone away, and you still don't know what time it is. Man. How many of us been just sitting on the toilet? You check this, you check that. You went to check your email for something important. Nah, you got to respond to the memes and the reels and stuff first. Like, what was I doing? We becoming more absent-minded because of these phones. That's all of us. I'm telling you right now. I'll just pull my phone out, no reason. I'll just be right here, and then Abraham's brother picture. Forget that I'm teaching y'all for about 10 minutes. Where was we at? Oh, yeah, verse 17. But, again, we have to be able to make a lot of adjustments because there's so much that's occurring in today's time, right? We're living in a very fast-paced world, and it's either we keep up or get left behind. So, where we at? Verse 17. Tosif.
And the servant ran to meet her and said, give me to drink, I pray thee, a little water of thy pitcher. And she said, drink, my lord. And she hastened and let down her pitcher upon her hand and gave him drink. Oh,
that's one thing I wanted to say too. Going back to his prayer being answered expeditiously, right? He didn't even finish. He didn't even make it to the end of his prayer or nothing. And the Most High already delivered it there to him. And one thing that I really do like about, the way I read this portion now is I have a different view of Rebecca in a good way than I ever did before. It said, and she said, drink, my Lord, and hastened, right? So I sat down and I meditated on that, because when you think about sometimes when a person may do a favor or something for somebody, they may lollygag, a little dilly-dallying, because they may not see the benefit that may come from the situation. And she didn't know this man. She didn't owe this man. But however she was raised, which is why he was sent over there to get her, she offered to do this and she hastened. That means it was no slack in her step. This was not an easy task because she had to give him water. And as you'll read when we get to that part, there was men with him, and then they had camels. And she was hustling and bustling. Now, those of us that may have worked with anyone that kind of take their time when we got a job to do, you can understand how frustrating it is to see somebody moving slow while everybody else is working hard, and it's just like, you know, especially I know you work on a bunch of different sites, and I'm pretty sure if you doing some construction related work and y'all all working hard and you got one or two people that's just moving slow and y'all all making the same money, you're going to start to feel some type of way. Exactly. Send them home. But even with this, like, not only was his prayer answered expeditiously, it was the level of enthusiasm that she had in doing this task, right? She could have just sat there and did it like, oh, okay, I'll get you water. You and the camels? Well, all right. Wait, the camels and the servants that's with you? Right. But nonetheless, the upbringing that she had and the spirit that the Creator put on her, which is why he selected her to be our mother, this is how she decided to be, right? I'm just fast forward a little bit, right? We thinking about Exodus, we thinking about Moshe, and we think about how it talks about how lively our women were, right? Even after giving birth, you know, they still had all this energy about them. Where you see where it comes from, right? That's that energy. She running back and forth, getting water, right? I'm skipping a little ahead now, but not only is she getting the water from the well, she's putting it in a trough, which is pretty much like a bucket or a tub. So she's getting the water, running back, bringing it to the, and this ain't just one trip. These are multiple trips. So that exuberance that our women have, you know, especially a lot of the things that we get done, all the events that we have, it's usually a lot of the foot traffic is done by our sisters. This is where y'all get it from, right? Torah teaches Torah. Again, that's why I'm saying as I'm reading it again, I'm getting so much more insight, because as life begins to pass and I learn more and the Creator allows me to experience more, I can appreciate everything that I read here a lot more. Oh, and sisters, we appreciate y'all. Yeah, just throw it out there. It ain't got to make sense. But no, in all seriousness, you know, like a lot of the things and the events and stuff that happened throughout the years, you know, even thinking back to when, you know, like, I guess I was too young to know anything, and my Abba was telling me about the events that they used to have back in the 90s and how it's hard to get brothers to do work, but sisters will show up and do stuff. Brothers come up with 1,001 excuses, oh, I can't do this, I got to come in, da-da-da-da. But, yeah, some. But, you know, as far as the sisters coordinate, not that much talking, you do this, I do that, we bringing this, all right, this time, blah, 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 boom. Everything done, all together. So just in case y'all haven't heard it in a while, you know what I mean? Because it's good to learn. So these things called love languages, all right? So that's like words of affirmation, all right? So y'all all appreciate it for the work that y'all do. Just in case y'all haven't heard it, any men with wives, tell them nice things. Huh? There we go. It's all right. Listen, we never too old to learn, and you know, age isn't discriminatory of information. So I may be 30, somebody may be 40, 50, or 60. That don't mean I can't learn from you. That don't mean you can't learn from me. I just, you know, even listening to what Mika was saying this morning about emotions and making this guy, he's funny. But y'all can't see him on camera, but I can. But no, he's a very sharp young man, and actually all of y'all are very sharp. Y'all make me smile when I think about y'all during the week, because I see the other children that are out there in the world, and I see how they display themselves and they carry themselves, and it's just like, you know what, y'all parents did a good job with y'all. And I know sometimes when you're young and you're growing up in this, you forsake it a lot because you want to be like them other kids, but y'all don't realize how neglected a lot of them are. Y'all don't realize how unloved a lot of them are, right? Their parents don't care about them. Their parents don't feed them. Their parents don't do a lot of things with them. Y'all, a lot of y'all have not only had both y'all parents, but y'all have a lot of time with y'all parents. And a lot of these parents don't care to spend time with their children. They work, they got their shows to watch, they got their friends to hang out with, they got all these other things to do, and they're not putting that much energy into their child. So y'all have that. But about the emotion thing that I was thinking about, because I know I'm going to forget it later, so I'm going to just say it now, and no, it don't make sense to what's going on here. I'm okay with that. But learning to control our emotions, right, and master our mind, okay? So with Rebecca and seeing how she is, what I was saying a little bit earlier was that obviously she had a good upbringing, right? So there's nature and there's nurture. So there's how we are because of the genetic information that we're made up with, and then there's the part that we get from our environment. So one of our first teachers, our main first teachers, are our parents. So a lot of this that we're seeing being displayed by her, even though it's a small portion, you know that has to come from her upbringing, right? So now, I'm going to take a sip of water, Slockley. So now when it comes to emotional regulation, where do we think that comes from? Right? Our parents. Our first teachers teach us how to handle a lot of situations, whether directly or indirectly. And keep in mind that one of the main ways children learn is visually first, right? We don't understand words at those infant and toddler ages, right? A lot of things that's being said may not make sense. It might be being programmed in there, but they don't make sense. So they learn by behaviors and actions. So when you see someone that may not have the best control over their emotions, or when they get angry, they don't know how to properly display it or convey it, they always resort to some type of violence and things like that. My first thoughts is, okay, they must have learned this at home. And even when, I have like friends and associates that work in education, and when they see certain behaviors displayed from a child, their first thoughts is they're probably learning this from home. And even when you call the parent, now sometimes the parent acts shocked, and sometimes the parents show you exactly what you suspected, right? You'll talk to the parent, and it's no, you sure my kid did that? And it's like, okay. All right, so that was the piece of the puzzle that I needed. They behave this way in class because you behave this way to them at home. And then you have the confused and surprised parents like, what, my child? No way. Knowing good and well, they learned that from you. They talk like that because of you. So now bringing it closer to us as far as any ways in which sometimes you may see in your child that you may not like, sit back, before you get frustrated and get all yelling and talking and name calling, which is not something we should be doing to our children anyway, because now you're teaching them that that's how you handle frustration. But sit back, look at yourself and say, do I display these behaviors? Because if you feel like your child might be a little absent-minded, am I a little absent-minded? You feel like your child's a little, slack or procrastinative, do I display the behaviors as well? Because it's very easy. We see everybody's flaws so well. But that introspection, it's very hard for us to do. We don't sit back and look at the man in the mirror.
That's right.
Like obviously they're learning these things from someone. All right. When I look at my two nephews right there, because I'm around them often, a lot of ways I see my sister, my youngest sister, and she be frustrated at certain things, and I'm just like, oh, you don't like that, huh? I've had to deal with that most of my life. And it's just like, I'm like, okay, but you know what? I see it a little bit there, but even when I'm outside and just, me and the brother, we spoke about this a couple weeks ago, where you could be on a train, bus, walking, and you'll hear a mother or a parent just yelling at their child, and it's like, whoa, like take it easy. And it happens more frequently than I would even like. I don't like hearing that at all, but it happens way too frequent, no matter where I'm at. And it's just like, this is what you're teaching this child. If I go in the store and automatically the child may touch something, child is 2, 3, 4, snatch them away from that, call them a couple names. I said not to do this, that, and the third, and it's just like, and then we wonder why there's so little love out there, right? It's very easy for us to display a certain level of hate or malice towards one another when that's how we was raised all this time. Maybe not us, but a lot of our brothers and sisters out there, again, they wasn't shown the level of love, compassion, and mercy that we may have been shown by our parents. So, and that begin to check your behaviors and mannerisms as well, because the upbringing that Rebecca had, it afforded her a blessing. She didn't know this blessing was coming, but because she was how she was and she did what she did, she ended up living her life like a princess, right? So let us think about that and our control of our emotions, right? Having some type of emotional intelligence, some emotional regulation, because one thing about anger, and that's an emotion that a lot of us typically go to right away because we don't know how to process all the other ones, anger narrows the mind, right? So if you just cover your eyes like this a little bit, you start to lose your peripheral vision and you don't see anything that's on the side. So you can't perceive anything that's around you. Why? Because that anger and frustration got you focused on just right here, and now, as some people say, you can't see the forest for the trees. Back to the portion.
Verse 19. And when she had done giving him drink, she said, I will draw water. I will draw for thy camels also, until they have done drinking. And she hastened and emptied her pitcher into the trough, and ran again unto the well to draw, and drew for all his camels. And the man looked steadfastly on her, holding his peace, to know whether Yahuwah had made his journey prosperous or not. And it came to pass, as the camels had done drinking, that the man took a golden ring of half a shekel weight, and 2 bracelets for her hands of 10 shekels weight of gold.
All right.
Said,
Salakli. So, verse 21 made me think, like, that's why I started with the whole, we'll pray to the Most High for something, and then he'll show us, and we'll question it. Even right here, he got exactly what he prayed for expeditiously, and and it says, and the man looked steadfastly on her, holding his peace to know whether Yehudah had made his journey prosperous or not. You literally just asked for this, you received it, and you're still questioning it, which is fine. We are human beings. The Most High allowed us to have all these emotions and complexities about us. But nonetheless, I'm saying this to say, we're human. We're all human, right? This is our first time being here. And I say that because that's just something I had read maybe a couple weeks back, where it's just like, a lot of times we are impatient with ourselves, not realizing the fact that this is your first experience on earth, right? You've never been here before. So be a little compassionate with yourself, because even right here, he got his prayer answered right away, and he still kind of was questioning. You don't got to beat yourself up for questioning certain things in certain situations, because we always live with that shoulda, coulda, woulda mentality in certain instances, and it's just like, you didn't know better then, you know better now, do better, right? So going back to when you pray to the Most High for something, and he show you it, believe it. Believe it the first time, right? Because another conversation that's very big in today's time is red flags, right? So the Most High can show you red flag after red flag, but you got your paintbrush there. So he just got to keep sending you more. And you're like, green is your favorite color. So you paint that one green and you paint that one white. And it's just like, okay. So when he show you something the first time, believe it. You know, don't try to change it just to make it fit your way. But right here we see too, right? So again, going back to Rebecca, she did all this with a willing heart. And that's what the Most High wants. He wants that willing heart. Not somebody that you got to pull and make them do something, but she did all this with the willing heart, steadfastly running back and forth, getting water for the camels, getting water for the men. And now we see where it says, second half of verse 22, that the man took a golden ring of half a shekel weight and two bracelets for her hand and 10 shekels weight of gold. He put close to 7 bands. I ain't going to all the numbers right now. Y'all go ahead and look up how much a shekel weighs, because it's a little difference. It could be anywhere from 9.6 to 9.8 grams, and then you can look up how much gold costs about a gram, which is about 33 per gram. So you can go ahead and do all that math and conversions. I'm not doing it right now. He gave her about close to 6.5, maybe 7 bands. That's $7,000, right? And I'm pretty sure a lot of us would like to make that much money, because no matter how much time this took, this was not all day work, right? She went back and forth. She fed the camels. I'm pretty sure a lot of us would want to work a job just like that. Like, what? $7,000, all I got to do is work an hour? I'm pretty sure her going back and forth maybe took 2 or 3 hours. Many of us in today's time, we don't see that in a week. Let alone she made that in a day. And again, that's why I said the behaviors and the mannerisms in which we teach our children, especially through our behaviors, we don't know what blessing that could afford them. Or vice versa, the curse, right? When we get into all our different books, when you get into the book of Kings, and you get into the book of Jeremiah, Ezekiel, etc., the reason why a lot of our forefathers were punished, because their parents practiced, a whole bunch of idolatry, and the children in turn learned that. So now everybody got to go into captivity. Now that's taking it to the extreme, of course, but that's what we see in the book. But bringing it back to just a human level, if you're not good with controlling your anger and your frustrations, your child may put themselves into a situation where now they're behind bars, right? Or something like that. Or they may hurt themselves in some type of way. 23, okay. Tosif.
And said, whose daughter art thou? Mm-hmm. Tell me, I pray thee, is there room in thy father's house for us to lodge in? And she said unto him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, whom she bore unto Nahor. She said, moreover unto him, we have both straw and provender enough and room to lodge in. And the man bowed his head and prostrated himself before Yehovah. And he said, blessed be Yehovah, the God of my master Abraham, who have not forsaken his mercy and his truth toward my master. As for me, Yehovah have led me in the way to the house of my master's brethren.
All right. Calling the name of the Most High before a matter and after a matter, right? So don't forget to thank the Most High after he gave you that thing that you asked for. And that's one of the things that I often ask the Most High for forgiveness for when I'm praying, is I say, Salak li, for any gratitude that I didn't show you for anything that I asked for and didn't remember. Because we may ask for a lot of things, and when we receive them, we might, be thankful of it. We'll say torah YAH, but it's just like a brief torah YAH. But sit down and reflect on the fact that at one point you were praying for this heavily. You were meditating on it day and night. Now it's in your life. Not only just, don't just have a simple torah YAH. See, he broke into prayer yet again, right? Be very intentional and direct and say, no, Most High, I acknowledge the fact that this thing that I asked for, you brought it into my life, and I thank you, and I pray that I continue to show you gratitude for it so that I may keep it, all right? The Most High, he could take away just as fast as he gives. So continue to show that, thoughtfulness and that gratitude for the things that he blessed us with. Tosif?
And the damsel ran into her mother's house according to these words. Mm-hmm. And Rebekah had a brother, and his name was Laban. And Laban ran out unto the man unto the fountain. All right, so
for those of us that's hearing this for the first time, Laban is a very interesting character in our story and our history. But, we're going to see a little bit about him here that if you didn't pay attention to it before, you'll recognize a little something about him. Tosif.
And it came to pass when he saw the ring and the bracelets and upon his sister's hands, and when he heard the words of Rebekah his sister saying, thus spoke the man unto me, that he came unto the man, and behold, he stood by the camels at the fountain, and he said, come in, thou blessed of Yehovah. Wherefore standest thou without? For I have cleared the house and made room for the camels.
All right, so again, you start to see certain little things about our Uncle Laban, right? Right away, right? Soon as he's introduced, what does it says? And it came to pass when he saw the ring and the bracelets upon his sister's hand, forget everything after that, right? That's what he noticed. She went out to get water. She came in drippy. Like, hold on. She got ring, bracelets. Who gave this to my sister? Right, especially as a brother, like you see your sister coming in with different stuff, and like, you ain't got no job. You coming in the house with this stuff for? Who gave you this? But Laban's mind is always on gain anyway, right? As we begin to go through the rest of the Torah portions, you'll see the type of man that he is. So he noticed the rings. Then we move down a little bit, and immediately. Come in, thou blessed of the Lord, or thou blessed of Yehovah, wherefore standest thou without, and I have cleared the house and made room for the camels. He saw a blessing for him as well, right? Now, he wasn't wrong, but he didn't know what this man's intention was or anything. He just immediately invited him into his home just because he gave his sister some jewelry. Tosif?
And the man came into the house, and he ungirded the camels, and he gave straw and provender for the camels, and water to wash his feet and the feet of the men that were with him. And it was set food before him to eat. But he said, I will not eat until I have told mine errand. And he said, speak on. And he said, I am Abraham's servant, and Yehovah hath blessed my master greatly. And he has become great, and he hath given him flocks and herds and silver and gold and men servants and maid servants and camels and asses. And Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master when she was old. And unto him hath he given all that he had. And my master made me swear, saying, thou shalt not take a wife from my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwell. But thou shalt go into my father's house, and to my kindred, and take a wife from my son. And I said unto my master, peradventure the woman will not follow me. And he said unto me, Yehovah, before whom I walk, will send his angel with thee, and prosper thy way. And thou shalt take a wife from my son of my kindred, and of my father's house. Then shalt thou be clear from my oath, when thou comest to my kindred. And if they give her not to thee, thou shalt be clear from my oath.
All right. So we see in verse 40 where it says, and he said unto me, This is speaking about Abraham. Yehudah, before whom I walk, will send his angel with thee and prosper thy way, and thou shalt take a wife for my son. But the thing I want us to focus on is this servant here learned everything he learned from Abraham, right? Mm-hmm. So in us seeing him pray before, he meets Rebekah, him praying after he meets Rebekah, and once again, the name of the Most High is on his lips, right? So he's the Most High is in the entirety of this matter. But if you think back, it says, I know that Abraham will command his house to do that which is right. And you see an example right here. This is not any of his children, anything. He could have kept everything that he had with him, but the type of person that Abraham is, this is the type of people that came around him, right? So not only was Abraham a servant of the Most High, so was his servant, because you see Abraham talking to his servant about the Most High, and he's saying he's going to send his angel before you and prosper your ways. Let that be, let us have that in mind when it comes to us dealing with each other, dealing with our children, and even with people who don't know the Creator, right? Because sometimes we'll talk about the Most High, talk about God. We have a lot of different associates that maybe, believe in a lot of different things, and we may be a little bashful about bringing God into the conversation because school has kind of taught us to not do that, to respect people's religious identities and this, that, and the third. And it's just like, no, you go ahead and you bring God into the conversation so they know where you stand, right? Again, we're seeing these characteristics displayed by him because he was under Abraham, right? He's getting this from Abraham. And if you don't display these certain characteristics of someone that keeps this law, you don't know who you might not affect that you should have, right? Whether it be family, friend, or otherwise, because you sitting there trying to hide that you about the Most High, that you serve the Creator, you trying to keep it down and hid back, and it's just like you don't know who the Most High may bring in your life that could be a blessing to the whole nation. Don't sit there and hold back. No. Put God in the conversation. Talk about the Creator. Go ahead and if you are too ashamed to talk about or bring up the Most High or even bring up the book with certain people, those are not people you should keep company with for too long. If you gotta hide that you are a person of God, that's not company you should be keeping. Exactly. Because that's what that turns into, where you want to hide God from this situation or this person. What happens when the Most High starts to hide himself from you? Ain't nobody in your life worth keeping if you got to lose God. I feel like I stole that from something. I'm not going to lie. That was like a mic drop. But anyway, I feel like I stole that from something. But, and in all seriousness, because it just, when you read, like just rereading this portion, it's like, wow, you learn so much. And in learning so much is like, we have to be better. Because all of the problems that exist within and I'm just talking about the Israelite community, these behaviors and mannerisms was learned from other generations. And even, because obviously at some point, although many of us may have been born in this, there's our parents and our parents' parents or whoever. They were the first set of people that began to call upon the Most High, right? Just like it is with Abraham. He was the first person to take this path in this book, the way we see. And there are ways in which that they had from their other lives that they may be brought to this that they shouldn't have, right? You think about us being brought over here to be slaves. We weren't brought over here to be citizens. We were brought over here to do work. And we learned a lot of ways in which we should have dismissed from our slave masters. But we brought that into our households. We brought that into our congregations. That's why we have a lot of arrogance and ego, and I'm at this position, and you need to respect me and listen to me because I'm this. And then those same sentiments get passed over to other generations, and we wonder why there's so much division and derision in our nation. You could trace it all back. You just got to sit there. I have a lot of time to think sometimes, so I just sit there and go ahead and just like trace the pieces and like, all right. Now the next step is, figure out a solution. The Most High is still allowing certain generations to be here because we see what happens when the Most High has had it, right? When he has had it, all right, everybody 20 and over, that's it. It's clipped for you. Now, we don't want that to happen in our generation, right? We don't. I'm over 20 now. If I was their age, I'd be like, all right, sucks for y'all. Most High chose us, you know. Asked me this 11 years ago, I'd have been like, oh, well. Obviously, y'all not doing a good job. So the Most High knows best, you know. But now that I'm in that number, you know, it's just, but, you know, it's just like, I tell people this all the time, especially dealing with my clients. And, you know, just in a small way, I say, you're still here. You have the opportunity to do better, right? Sometimes we beat ourselves up because it's like, oh, I should be doing this. Or like even what Moirani said with the language and, you know, practice, right? Anything that we practice, if you keep practicing, you'll make progress. You keep practicing, you'll make more progress. I know sometimes people say practice make perfect. It ain't gonna happen. It's no such thing as you could attain to reach perfection, but don't reach for that. Just keep practicing and make progress. Aim to be better than you was the last time, right? So as long as the Most High is affording you another opportunity on this earth, don't worry about trying to be the best or something like that. You just try to be better than all the previous versions of yourself. Okay? Because sometimes I even have to tell people, especially when they like actually working out with me, I tell them straight up, do not try to keep up with me. I've been doing this for a while. You're just getting here. Don't look at it in a comparative way. Your goal is to be better than you were. You do what you're doing. And I would say don't even look at other people that's here doing this. Don't worry about them being able to do that. Oh, that person's smaller than me but can lift this. Okay, and that's them. You don't know how much work they put in. We sitting there comparing ourselves to people not knowing their story, not knowing their journey. And it's like that person has put themselves through a lot. They have done a lot. They've done a lot of work. We look at certain people's level of success and it's just like, oh man, that can't be me. Why that's not me? You got 18 and 19-year-old millionaires. I'm not going to say I'm not salty about that, but you know, you got 18 and 19-year-old comfortable millionaires. I ain't talking like struggling, hard working, bills paying once, you know, after the taxes is taken out. I'm talking like millions to the point that even after taxes and bills is paid, they still got that money to touch. But you know what? That's their portion. Yeah, exactly. And some of them ain't even earning it the right way. So there's that part. We're not going to get on that part. But let's say the person that earned it in a good way. Don't sit there and start to compare yourselves to them. Look at it like, oh, man, I'm 30, I'm 40, I'm 50. I don't have this accomplished in life, and they do. Because that's what social media really, that's one of the biggest mind games that social media plays on us in today's time is this comparative lifestyle. And again, even with that, people are not showing you their difficult moments. They showing you all the pretty stuff, all the nice stuff. They showing you the vacation stuff. They ain't showing you all the struggles and all the hardships they may be going through it. And you sitting there forsaking your blessings. Oh, man, they on vacation again. It's the third one this month. Huh? And it's only, what, the 11th day of November? It's their third vacation this month. Wow. Look at them. And we sitting there forsaking all the blessings that the Most High have around us because we sitting there looking at what he blessed them with. Now, think about how you would feel if you gave somebody something, right? And they saying, oh, but so-and-so has this. You're like, damn, you don't appreciate what I just did for you? Again, we humans, these emotions that we have and we experience, we get from the Creator, right? So that lack of gratitude and stuff that we may indirectly show when we watching somebody else's life, just imagine how you making the Most High feel for what he's putting in yours. Mm-hmm. Tosif?
42. And I came this day unto the fountain and said, O Yehudah, the God of my master Abraham, if now thou do prosper my way which I go, behold, I stand by the fountain of water, and let it come to pass that the maiden that cometh forth to draw, to whom I shall say, give me, I pray thee, a little water from thy pitcher to drink, and she shall say to me, both drink thou, and I will also draw for thy camels. Let the same be the woman whom Yehovah hath appointed for my master's son. And before I had done speaking to my heart, behold, Rebekah came forth with her pitcher on her shoulder, and she went down unto the fountain and drew. And I said unto her, let me drink, I pray thee. And she made haste, and let down her pitcher from her shoulder, and said, drink, and I will give thy camels drink also. So I drank, and she made the camels drink also. And I asked her and said, whose daughter art thou? And she said, the daughter of Betuel Nachor's son. whom Milcah bore unto him. And I put the ring upon her nose and the bracelets upon her hands. And I bowed my head and prostrated myself before Yehovah, and blessed Yehovah, the God of my master Abraham, who had led me in the right way to take my master's brother's daughter for his son. And now, if you will deal kindly and truly with my master, tell me, and if not, tell me, that I may turn to the right hand or to the left. Then Laban and Bethuel answered and said, the thing proceeded from Yehovah. We cannot speak unto thee bad or good.
So So when I was reading this, I'm like, wow, he gave him the full director's cut. He told him every little detail. I'm surprised he didn't tell him about the steps that he took, but he's giving him the whole breakdown of everything that occurred before this moment of their meeting. And we get down to it at the end, and it says that, let's sleep out. Why did I just lose my? Oh, there we go. Then Laban and Bethuel answered and said, the thing proceeded from Yehovah. We cannot speak unto thee bad or good. And this made me think about Laban in a few more portions when the Most High came to him to speak directly, you know, in regards to our father Jacob, to say neither bad or good, but he still has something to say, right? But then you see right here, right now, the person he's showing himself to be is like, all right, from everything that you said, I can see this is from the Most High. We have nothing else to say. Tosif?
Behold, Rebekah is before thee. Take her and go and let her be thy master's son's wife, as Yehovah hath spoken. And it came to pass that when Abraham's servant heard their words, he bowed himself down to the earth unto Yehovah. And the servant brought forth jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment and gave them to Rebekah. He gave also to her brother and to her mother precious things.
So her brother just hit the lottery in his mind. But one thing that I do want us to take away from this is yet again, what do we see him doing? Calling on the name of, what it says? When Abraham's servant heard their words, he bowed himself down to the earth unto Yehovah. Once again, prostrating himself before the Most High God, because every part, you know, for him, it's every little piece matters, right? So he meets her, he thanks the Most High. Next part, he thanks the Most High. Now they're saying, okay, this sounds good to us. He thanks the Most High again. This may sound like doing too much to some people, but is it really? Because ain't no next moment promised to us. Yeah, he might have gotten A, B, and C, but then D, again, like they may have said, well, you know, we don't want our daughter to go with you. Now he got to go back to searching again. Now he got to make another prayer and hope that some other young damsel was going to sit there and feed 10 camels and his men. And then and keep in mind, I'm pretty sure that which he gave her, the ring and the bracelets, that was hers, right? It wasn't like, oh, this is down payment for if you come with me. He gave her that. That was hers. That was it. And now, as we can see, now that they have agreed that, okay, that which thou sayest is good, you know, we rocking with it. Verse 53 says, and the servant brought forth jewels of silver, gold, raiment, gave them to Rebekah, and her brother, her mother, precious things. So you know her brother's feeling very good about his decision right now. He's very ecstatic about the fact that he invited this man into his house. They're getting a whole bunch of nice things. And that's why I wanted to put a little emphasis on the minute they introduced him, his eyes immediately went down to her hands and stuff, right? He's seeing the ring, the bracelets. This shows you what type of man he is. He's all about the money. He stands on business, right? That's all he cares about. Tosif?
And they did eat and drink, he and the men that were with him, and tarried all night. And they rose up in the morning and said, send me away to my master. And her brother and her mother said, let the damsel abide with us a few days, at the least 10. After that she shall go. And he said unto them, delay me not, seeing Yehovah hath prospered my way. Send me away that I may go to my master.
So already to me, as I'm reading this part, I'm starting to see the Laban that we know him to be, right? Now that they got everything that they wanted, oh, let her stay here with us for 10 days. Knowing however far he got to go, it's a journey. Then he got to come back. And you don't know what he may put into his sister's ear or what he may try to do now that they already got some type of payment. You know, like, oh, the damsel which thou hast met, she has fled. Whole time she in the tent. You know, we know Laban is about trickery. Well, if you don't know, you will. Stay tuned. But Laban is about trickery. So that whole let her stay with us 10 days, like, hey, we just agreed she's going to be a wife of my master's son. That's it, all right? Now, as you can see, his mind and his spirit told him to say, delay me not, seeing Yehovah have prospered my way. Send me away that I may go to my master. Sometimes that intuitive thought, in those moments, roll with it. Because that feeling, that sensation that you get, could very well be the Most High talking to you. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we fight that gut feeling, and as soon as we don't listen to it, all right, we like, smote of the thigh. Because he could have very well said, well, you know what, he did agree. It's just 10 days. All right, we'll wait. Come back. Laban is up to his trickery. Like, no. We said this is what we're doing. That's it. That's the end of it. All right. Tosif.
And they said, we will call the damsel and inquire at her mouth. Mm-hmm. And they called Rebekah and said unto her, wilt thou go with this man? And she said, I will go. And they sent away Rebekah, their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant and his men. Okay.
So when I read this part, because I felt like this may be taken in a sense of she was neglected from the conversation in its entirety. Now, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. What I'm saying is when it gets here, it's specifically talking about whether or not she's going to stay home for those 10 days or go with him right now. Because I know sometimes it may be looked at or seen as, especially from an Eastern perspective, where women may not have a say. And I definitely against that thought process. And especially I feel as if in this situation, she wasn't left out while he was talking to her brother, right? Whether she was right there with them, in their kitchen eating and stuff, and, listening to the story of, his journeys, and this happened and that happened, and I asked for a wife, blah, blah, blah. I don't think she was neglected from the entirety of that conversation. You may have some people that may look at it that way, where it was just like, well, her brother brokered the deal, and the father and mother was there, and that was the end of it. I would like to think and say that she had a put in it from jump, right? Okay, she was in the deal. She knew what was going on. She was, with everything. Now, the only reason they inquired of her, they inquired about this matter was because he wanted to see if she would want to stay home for 10 days or go ahead and leave right now. And as we can see, she didn't want to be there much longer either. She see all of the things that she just received. Oh, I got bracelets and clothes and jewelry. My brother, my mother, my father. Let me go meet this man. All right, Tosif.
And they blessed Rebekah and said unto her, our sister, be thou the mother of thousands of 10,000s, and let thy seed possess the gate of those that hate them. And Rebekah rose and her damsels, and they rode upon the camels and followed the man. And their servant took Rebekah and went his way. And Isaac came from the way of Be'er Lakai Roi, for he dwelt in the land of the south. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the eventide. And he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, there were camels coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she alighted from the camel.
Okay.
And she said unto the servant, what man is this that walketh in the field to meet us?
That's your man.
And the servant said, it is my master. And she took her veil and covered herself. And the servant told Isaac all the things that he had done. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent. And he took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her, and Isaac was comforted for his mother.
All right. So when I read this and I look at it, obviously we already know Rebekah was very attractive, huh? Fair to look upon. But despite all of the nice things that she was given, we're humans. She's human. Sometimes we be afraid to say things to spare people feelings, but we all know she wanted him to be attractive. So when she saw him and saw what she saw obviously something good, right? We know Sarah was beautiful. Our Ima Sarah, our mother Sarah was beautiful. This is her son, and a lot of times they say a mother's first boy always just kind of look like her. He take all her features and stuff. So I think, I could be wrong, I stand to be corrected. But I'd like to think that our father Isaac was a very beautiful man, right? He comes from good stock. We come from good stock. So not only was she attractive, and she was a good person as well, right? A lot of times we get caught up in the physical. Despite the fact that it did mention her beauty in the physical form, you could see she was beautiful internally as well. Again, all those things that she was doing. Now we're looking at Isaac, right? It says, Isaac went out to meditate in the field at eventide. So it's about the end of the day. He's going out into the field to meditate, right? So that's that same thing I was just talking about as far as introspection and, be thinking ourselves and stuff. So although I do feel like Isaac was a good look for her, which is why she covered her face. She probably wanted to hide her bashfulness or whatever, or, started getting, I ain't gonna say red cheeked or whatever, but started blushing to some extent. And she's like, hold on, I can't let him see me folding already. He don't even know me like that, She had to put a strong face on, so she's covering her face because she don't need him seeing how happy she is just to have, meet him right away. And now Isaac finally gets to meet her. I know a lot of people, there's a whole bunch of different opinions when it comes to this part. So when it says he brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took her and she became his wife and he loved her, you have those that believe that they consummated the marriage right then and there, right after meeting each other, and that's what occurred. Then you have those that maybe look at it like he literally just took her in the tent and at that moment, decided that was going to be his wife. Either which way, I'm not going to go back and forth between the different thought processes. Feel free to think what you want to think, but make good decisions and know that you do, right? So don't think that this means you want to take a woman and you consummate a marriage with no other things prior occurring, that's an okay thing to do, right? Because that thought process ain't even just here. Like, again, I read a lot of different conversations online, and you'll have men and women just speaking about, oh, well, when that happens, now that's the marriage, and it's like, okay, all right, but you know what? Let's still be better, and let's do better, and let's have a lot of steps before that, right? Let's still have the courting process occur, okay? So you speak to their parents. Obviously, you can see the servant went and spoke to her parents, so that process happened. Abraham maybe didn't get a chance to meet her yet, but you speak to their parents, they speak to your parents. Let's have some order in things. And even if, let's just run with it and say that did occur. Not everything that happened in this book was good and right? None of these people that we read about were perfect, okay? They were flawed just as we are flawed. That don't mean it's okay to stay flawed, but this also doesn't mean that this is a fairy tale book where any and everything that happened in this book is okay to happen. Because there's a lot of things that happen in this book that we know we shouldn't be doing either. Idolatry happens in this book. That don't mean we should be doing it, right? There's a whole bunch of things. There's harlotry and homosexuality and keeping us safe from the monetization. I'm joking a little bit, but there's a lot of things that occur in this book that just because it happens doesn't mean like, oh, well, it happened there. Nah, right? We want to be better. We want to do better. Now, one thing that I did notice as I was reading this too, I was like, wow, despite the fact that Abraham is hurting over the fact that he lost his wife just now, the first thing he made sure was taken care of was his son, right? He made sure his son got that comfort before he did. Because as we begin to get into this next part, we're going to see Abraham taking another wife and everything. So before he even did anything for himself, he made sure his son was straight. And that made me think about, again, like I'm very watchful and observant as I'm out there in the world. And it made me think about parenting and stuff in today's time, where you have a lot of parents that have a selfish mindset where they still want to live their life even after they had kids. And it's like, that's good. You should want to treat yourself and take care of yourself. But once you bring these little lives into the world, that is your primary focus. You are no longer the main character in your story. Unfortunately for you, they are. They did not ask to be here. They did not create themselves. So the minute that they come into this world, your priorities should shift to making sure that they have a better and brighter future than you do, right? So again, before Abraham even took anything unto himself, he made sure, his son Isaac just lost a mother. So he made sure he was comforted first and foremost before he took anything for himself. And even being on that topic, being comforted and lost and stuff, I see another big topic, and it's just like, oh man, Instagram be catching me good, because I guess once you start to look at it for a certain amount of time, whether you like it or not, the algorithm knows, oh, this holds his attention for this amount of time. Let's keep putting it in the feed. But another conversation that keeps happening, especially in our community, is just like, oh, men expect women to be their mother. And it's just like, when you're taking on a spouse, y'all are supposed to fill a lot of those roles and all around, right? So, and as a man, yes, in a way, I'm taking over a role of a father, a brother, a friend, husband, all of these things, as well as when it comes to a woman. Yes, you are going to be taking, to some extent, the role of his mother, his sister, his friend, his wife, all of these things. But because there's such a convoluted idea of relationships in our time, these unnecessary conversations occur where it's just like, oh, well, I'm not your mother. Obviously, you're not the mother. And then on the flip side, guys will be like, oh, you want me to do this? I'm not your father. How about all y'all just leave each other alone, right? Find that person that you will put your pride to the side and say, I don't mind doing these things for. Because I feel like a lot of those conversations, and the reason I'm speaking on it because it's so much, again, access to our children as well. So y'all as parents may not be hearing it, but they may very well pop up on it, and then they see it again and again, and they listening to these conversations over and over again, and then those sentiments start to get ingrained in their brain bars, where it's just like, maybe they're all right. You know, maybe I shouldn't be like this, or maybe I shouldn't do that, or maybe I shouldn't be this way. And it's just like a lot of these people that's offering this information are traumatized. They're just giving you hurt information. Oh, I did all of this for her, and then. Yeah, but God showed you 100 times that wasn't the woman for you. So you mad because she just kept accepting, but you just kept giving. That's not her fault. You have no idea how many times I have to like, hey, bro, listen, I know you like her. Calm down, all right? If the interest isn't being shown mutually, you're only going to hurt yourself, okay? You just keep doing and she's showing you how she feels. And most of the time, women are pretty direct. They also telling you how they feel. Oh, but I could win her over. All right, you try your best. Now you $20,000-$30,000 in a whole 2-3 years in of keep pursuing, and now you mad at her, and it's like, well, I mean, she told you she wasn't looking, she wasn't vibing with you like that. She showed you she wasn't vibing with you. Every time you try to spend time with her, oh, I gotta watch the microwave a couple hours. My mom. Every time you try to do something, she got a different excuse. Yeah, my toe started itching, so I can't today. Okay. And then vice versa with women, right? A lot of times, I saw a joke that said, you ain't got to lie to a woman. If she liked you enough, she'll lie to herself. That probably hit home for a lot of women. It may or may not, because sometimes we'll turn a blind eye, again, going back to those red flags, we'll turn a blind eye to behaviors that we don't like and that we really don't want to put up with but we already fell in like with this person. We've already committed to the idea of being with this person. Now you start tolerating things you don't want in your life, right? Happens with both ways. But I do see a lot of the complaints online and the internet. And then when I even have some of my female friends talk to me about stuff, I say, well, did he show any of these behaviors early on? Because men, we're not, I don't know. I don't know what everyone goes through, but I feel like we ain't the best pretenders, or we can't keep it going for long. Eventually a man will show you who he is. So it's just like, how much of yourself did you give before you really got to see who he was? Like, because, like, oh, well, this stopped happening and this, and then it was that, and all of these different things. And it's like, you didn't, like, not to, again, you want to be nice when giving advice. Don't want to hurt nobody, because they coming to you with some level of vulnerability, and it's just like, you didn't see none of this, like nothing. Because even some of you that are married and you have those little things about your spouse that kind of make you like, but you saw those things at some point. Now, whether or not you made a big deal of it or whether it grew, you still saw those things. And then another big problem that we have too is we think if we love a person enough, we could change a person. A person will only change if they want to. Right? That's really what it, and I find myself having to almost turn into a therapist with a lot. It's like, why is this? But you know what? Even though I want to say why, I say I know what the Creator put in me, and that's why He sent that to me. Because it'll be random, and it's like this month, these past 2 months, it happened again and again and again, and I'm just like, maybe I should just take a different life role. Maybe I need to be some type of couples therapist, relationship type of something, because it's just like, yeah, I know, right? My sister said get married first. I know y'all didn't hear her online. But they get so, There's a lot of good commentary here. I wish I could hear it, but no, they're getting single before the holidays. So those that know, right? Around this time of the year, even though we don't celebrate them, but a lot of these, pagan days involves a lot of monetary stuff, right? What's coming? Thanksgiving, Misgiving, and Xmas, and all of that. People have to come out of their pocket. So a lot of people be coming single around this time of the year. Then once the year, so to speak, because we know it's not really the end of the year, but just for the sake of, because we ain't going on to that, but just for the sake of that, they do that whole thing, show them true selves, and they come back apologizing January, February. Oh, I want you to be my Valentine. Like that's and this is a little bit sidetracked, but it's funny how society turned us so much so into consumers that every single holiday involves some type of spending, right? This day deal, that day deal, everything deal. I'm pretty sure there's today's Veterans Day, if I'm not, or yeah, exactly. Everything come with money. That's all we are. That's all we are as consumers. But back to the relationship thing and people and changing and stuff, right? So it just turns into, okay, because what happens with a lot of, especially young relationships, the people that come to me with the problems and situations that they have, it turns into this. Okay, so let's just say you didn't see all these things before, right? Okay, you're seeing them now. Now what, right? Or have you addressed them? Have you brought it to their attention, these things that they're doing or that they stopped doing bothered you? No? Okay, we'll do that first. I even had to ask one of my friends, I said, you and this person been together for some years. Have y'all ever prayed together? Because again, I'm bringing it right back to where I started. We leave the Most High out of the situation and want to bring him in when things are wrong. Yeah. We put in the cart before the horse. It don't work that way, right? Do y'all pray together? Have y'all prayed together? Oh, yeah, but I'm usually the one leading the prayer all the time. I was like, all right, well, maybe he needs to develop some spirituality or something. Like, because you're serious about your faith, and he's not really serious about anything, what it seems. Maybe y'all need to come to some type of conclusion as far as where y'all going to go with that. Because you know how you want to raise the children that y'all may have, and he's just kind of, again, this all happens because people fall in like first. They commit themselves again, and you know what? Not even no courtship, no proper courtship, right? Because in today's time, it's a lot of fugaziness where things get involved. It may not. Again, we have these phones. It could just be text messages, but it's like, you know what? Even if nothing became physical, keep it at a normal level, right? I hope you know what I mean when I say keep it at a normal level, because conversations can easily become explicit, and now because you've introduced that idea when it comes to that person. Again, you're making a lot of excuses for a lot of things. And then for most people, when certain other things start to occur, now it's hard to create that detachment. Because that's where a lot of these frustrations come from. When people start to see certain behaviors that they don't like in a person, or they feel like they're showing them true selves, the hardest part for them to let go of that person is because they've already given themselves to that person. And it works both ways a lot of time. You have guys that, it may not be heard of or seen as often, but it works that way with men too, where it's just like they did this deed or whatever, and now it's like, well, I don't like this about her, I don't like that about her, I don't like this about him, I don't like that about him. But because this happened, they just keep seeing it through, and that's why there needs to be a lot of order brought into things. But even on the flip side, even worse, a lot of our sons and daughters out there, because these are all our children, because they affect our children, right? A lot of them have no conscience when it comes to doing these things, right? So I'm trying to keep it somewhat PG, but a lot of our young children involve themselves in a lot of things that they shouldn't be, and they have no conscience about doing it. They do this, that, and the third with this person, then the next person, then the next person, then the next person. And by the time they make it to high school, they've already experienced a lot of people. Again, this is going both ways. No one at that age should be involving themselves. This is not, oh, girls can do this, can't do this, but boys can. No, y'all ain't physically fully developed, y'all ain't mentally fully developed. Nah, no teenagers. You got teen in your age, calm down, right? And even, again, I meditate a lot. I try to meditate often. And I'm just like, they set our children up for failure because they know like all of the different hormonal changes that they're going through when they put them in school together. All these teenagers between 13, 14, 15, 16, on up, they know all these hormonal changes that they're going through. And then they go ahead, put them in co-ed schools and stuff. And now we have all these hormonal teenagers around each other. And what do you expect to happen when a lot of them aren't even being raised properly, right? So from that part right there, a lot of them already begin to develop bad relationship habits, all right? I saw a video about how people have turned modern day dating into marriage, which is why it's so easy to get out of divorce. And what the person broke down was people don't know how to date properly anymore, and they get into full-on relationships in the beginning, and this process begins to happen very early on with dating and stuff in middle school and high school. Even though your parents say not to, you're still probably going to do it. And because people have developed such bad habits from such a young age, that molded their minds towards relationships where, okay, let's give 100% of ourselves at this point. Oh, but if things don't work out, or as soon as I don't like this, I boogie. Right? And even if you do find and have the right person, just know everything is not going to be peaches and cream. We see right here with Abraham and Sarah where they had their trials and tribulations, right? They went through the little things that they went through. So this don't mean that just because you find your person, everything is going to be good. I saw a post where it said, you may do all the healing that you can and fix you, but you won't realize how much more healing is needed until you actually start to date someone. Because you being you by yourself is very different than you being with someone. And a lot of these things you don't realize you have to work on until you actually maybe start to court someone or talk to someone or date someone. And again, for the people that may be in those situations, don't look at it as this person has the potential to be better, because they may not change just because it's you. And, one piece of advice that I always give too, like, don't think you're less than because that person didn't change for you. You just may have not been the person for them. That person may very well do all the things that you wanted as soon as they get with somebody else after you. That don't mean that person's more than you or better than you or diminishes your worth in any way. You just wasn't the person for that person to make that spark happen. And when I talk to my guy friends too, I tell them the same thing. I say, listen, if her very presence doesn't inspire you to be better, don't waste her time. You don't need to figure out all of this, that, and the third. If something in her don't see, you sit and look and you say, you know what? I want to be better than I am right now. Let me work on this. Let me fix my finances. Let me get in better shape. Let me get my skin right, have a skincare. Whatever it is, whatever little things. 'Cause I remember me and my roommate in college, we 18 years old. So our friend Melissa, like, he was one of those pretty boys. So he was used to getting any girl he wanted. But our friend Melissa, she wasn't having it. Miss 4.0, focused on school. So I visibly watched him. Like, again, he knew I was in the book, so he started reading Psalms. He started wanting to be a better man. Now, she didn't see this work. They never got together, but she didn't see this work. But I saw him change himself around a lot just because he wanted to be with her, right? So that's why when I tell my guy friends and I tell my female friends as well, it's just like, especially when it comes to us men, when we want to, we will, right? Asking us a million times ain't gonna make it happen. Getting frustrated and what some consider nagging. When we want to, we will. And unfortunately, a lot of times, that lesson ain't learned until too deep in, right? People's done spent so much time together and been together for so long. It's like, he ain't learned better yet? No, he ain't gonna learn better. So either learn to love that or, but I don't want to go too far off with that. Let's close it out. We got a few more verses to read. Chapter 25, right?
And Abraham took another wife, and her name was Keturah. And she bore him Zimran, and Yokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua. And Yokshan begot Sheba and Dedan. And the sons of Dedan were Ashurim, and Letushim, and Leumim. And the sons of Midian, Ephah, and Epher, and Chanuk, and Abida, and Eldaah. All these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Yitzchak. But unto the sons of the concubines that Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts, and he sent them away from Isaac his son, while he yet lived eastward from the east unto the east country. And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life which he lived, 115 years.
That's 175, Tosif.
And Abraham expired and died in a good old age, an old man, and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And Isaac and Ishmael his sons buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron the son of Zohar the Hittite, which is before Mamre, the field which Abraham purchased of the children of Chet. There was Abraham buried in Sarah his wife. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed Isaac his son, and Isaac dwelt by Be'er Lakai Roi.
So and I'm gonna keep it brief because I don't want to hold us too long. But when I read and it says, and Abraham expired and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. That same genetic makeup, we have that, right? And I just like one of the things I've really been. Obviously, you can see I meditate on a lot of different things, but we have to become more serious about our health, and we have a lot of people in the midst of us that can help us with these things. And it's like we want certain things, but we neglect the things that's needed to make that happen, right? We want to be healthier, but then we neglect the dietary changes that we should be making to create that health. Even when it comes to certain joint pains and this, that, and the third, we kind of know there's certain things we should be avoiding, maybe a little bit less dairy, maybe a little bit less sugar, maybe a little bit less fried food, but it tastes so good and we just got to have it. And the most arrogant thing I hear people say, not here, but in general, it's like, oh, well, we all going to die someday anyway. And it's just like, you really want to neglect your health to that point? You know? So, again, I don't know how many years the Most High has in store for me, but I'm pretty sure myself and all the rest of you would like to be able to have all your wits about you no matter how old you are. Would like to be able to still walk and handle things and do things, go up and down stairs. I'm pretty sure you would like to be able to do things for yourself and not become a burden into your family as you become older in age or older in years. Because one thing I did see from an older person, where did I see this? I be reading so much sometimes. I forget where the information comes from, but there was an older gentleman, and he said he wanted to be better because he didn't want to be a burden to his family. Oh, no. Actually, I think it was the other side. He was suicidal, and he didn't want to be here anymore because he felt like he was a burden to his family because he needed so much care and attention. And it's just like every last one of us, from the youngest one in here to the oldest one in here, you are at a point in your life where you can make better changes so that you won't feel that way, right? You don't feel like, oh, it's a burden for me to do this, and I don't want to come because I'm going to need help with this, that, and the third. But the change starts with you, right? You got to make that change. You got to be wanting to be healthy because Abraham, 175, Sarah, 127. We are people that can live that long, right? The Most High numbered us at 120. I'm praying I see it. I know my Abba keeps saying he's working towards it. I feel like we all can, right? Tosif?
Now, these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian Sarah's handmaid born to Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael by their names according to their generation. The firstborn of Ishmael, Nebayot and Kedar, and Adibiel and Mibsan, and Mishma and Duma, and Masa and Chadad, and Tima, Yetor, Nafish, and Kedem. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names by their villages and by their encampments. 12 princes according to their nations. And these are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years. And he expired and died, and was gathered unto his people. And they dwelt from Hawilah unto Shur, that is before Egypt. As thou goest toward Ashur, over against all his brethren, he did settle.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Now, I know I was a little bit back and forth and left and right, a little bit over the place today, but there was a lot of things that just crossed my mind for the past few weeks, past few months, especially as I always love going back to the beginning of this book because there's always something new to gain from it. And I pray that as we begin to go through these lessons again, that we all gain something from it and not begin to look at it like we've heard it before or, it's the same old story. Because sometimes we need the same lessons so that we can fortify ourselves in certain things, areas where we're lacking, right? We always need that little bit of encouragement. We always need that little bit of a reminder that, hey, you can be doing better. So I thank you all for taking the time to listen. I thank the Most High God for allowing me to even speak before his people. And with that, I bid you all again, Shabbat Shalom Lakin.
Shabbat Shalom.
All right.